The chase. He watched them rowing until they were specks on the horizon. Sure, they'd gotten away from him. They were wrong, of course. A fact that would become apparent all too soon. But, for now, Charles stood on the shore, looking out over the river as a solitary boat made its way frantically towards the mountains looming in the distance. He glanced up at the gathering clouds, smiling his wolfish smile. Maybe this storm would eliminate them for him. Charles hoped not. The thrill of the hunt was better than cocaine. The rumble of thunder masked the sound as he spun on his heel and headed to his black Jaguar. He knew it was cliché, but he loved this car. It had never let him down yet. Let's go, Shere Khan. We've got to make tracks. Charles also knew Shere Khan was technically a tiger, and not a jaguar, but he liked the sleek striped cat's way of smooth-talking his victims. It was his trademark. Who else could talk someone to death? Yes, Charles, you are one of the kind. He chuckled, trying to perfect his villain laugh. It would take him 20 minutes to reach the cabin he knew they'd run to. It was plenty of time to perfect a plan. Oliver and Kara never thought they would be hunted when they fell in love. At that time, Kara had thought attending poetry readings in back alley coffee shops in the wrong part of town was daring. How little she'd known then what danger really was. When she'd walked into that coffee shop and had seen Oliver on stage, it had made her heart stop. He must have noticed because he'd approached her table as soon as he got off stage. "What did you think?" he'd asked her. It was a question for old friends, not new acquaintances. Still, she'd blushed furiously as she'd stammered, "Why, you were magnificent." Magnificent? Who used words like that? In truth, she hadn't noticed a word he'd said. She'd been too captivated by the oceans of his eyes and the passion that seemed to drip from each word he said. "I'd say it's about time." The flash had returned to his eyes, and she wanted to melt into them. The government's gotten away with this crap long enough. Totally, she gushed, still having no idea what he meant. She'd understand all too soon. But, just look at these people. Oliver straightened up from where he'd been leaning on Kara's table and surveyed the room. Sheep. That's all they are. Little mindless robots who do what they're told. Not like us. Here, he had impulsively grabbed her hand. She could still feel the thrill of it, remembering. "I knew you were different the moment I laid eyes on you. We're going to change things, aren't we?" He trailed off, looking confused, then laughed. "What an idiot. I don't even know your name." "Kara," she'd breathed, keenly aware he was still holding her hand. "Pleased to meet you." He had grinned that jaunty smile of his and waltzed into her heart. From then on, she'd been willing to do anything for him, never dreaming it would come to this. "We're clear," Oliver gasped, taking a break from his furious paddling, chest heaving from the adrenaline and fear. There go his tail lights. Kara's arms were wrapped around herself, trying to hold her warmth to her body. She was still shaking. "He'll never be gone, Ollie," she choked out. "I've never seen him, but I've always known when he's there. He's been stalking us for months. He'll hunt us till the day we die, which I think might be today." She put her head down, and her shoulders shook. "Why didn't you tell me you thought someone was following you?" "Months. I've only noticed him today. I didn't want to worry you. I had no proof, until we heard him today. Besides, we had so much with the wedding and everything. But, when the papers started covering the murders, tears streamed down her face." "Hey." Oliver tried to comfort her with his voice, unable as he was to go to her in the already rocking boat. "Don't fall apart on me, Kara. I need your help. We're not out of the proverbial woods yet. I don't see anywhere good to land in these mountains, and those clouds don't look too good. If we get hit with a storm out here, Charles won't get the chance to kill us." Kara gulped in a shuddering breath and picked up her oars. She tried to take stock of their surroundings, attempt to figure out a plan at least, but the weight in her stomach was getting heavier by the second. He was right, there were no good options. Something triggered her brain. This unseen man had a name. "Charles? You know his name? Someone is trying to kill us and you know him? What did you get me into? Who are you? Why is this Charles guy after us anyway?" Oliver sighed as the two of them fell into a more natural rhythm of rowing. "It's a long story, and it's actually more my parents than me. My dad double-crossed him in a deal, and it killed some girl he cared about. Some people say that's what set him off on this killing spree to begin with. I hadn't connected it when I first read about the murders in the paper, but the pattern he's had made something click. He's never been caught. No one ever sees him coming. But I'd swear it's Charles. The history he has with my dad just seems to fit. The knot in Kara's stomach turned into a cannonball. Killed someone he loved. So, that's it, she said, voice flat. What? Oliver's eyebrows knit. He's going to kill me. Oliver almost dropped his oar. What are you talking about? Think about it, Ollie. Your dad got his girlfriend killed. Now, he's coming after us. What do you think he's going to do? Invite us for tea? Oliver's face looked white against the flash of lightning that split the sky, crack of thunder chasing close on its heels. The sound seemed to wake him up. We've got to get off this lake. I think I see a path up there by that dock. If there's a dock, maybe there's a cabin or something. We can wait out the storm and figure out what to do next. A cabin. It'd be the perfect place for a romantic getaway. Mountains, a lake, and a storm. Lord knows they needed it. If only we weren't being chased by a killer, Kara thought. With the wedding a mere 3 weeks away, she and Oliver could use some time to themselves. All the planning had made things difficult for them. But, soon, it would all be over. Somehow thinking that thought wasn't as reassuring as it usually was. Perhaps because this time, it could have an entirely different meaning. They docked the boat, and Oliver reached to take Kara's hand. It's okay. We've made it. He drew her close, inhaling the sweet scent of her hair. Kara melted into him. I can't believe we made it to shore. You always take care of me. I know these last weeks have been challenging, but soon, it'll all be over. She took a deep breath and rushed on, and we'll be married and get on with our lives. They'll catch this psycho, and we'll never have to look over our shoulders again. Oliver scrutinized her face before glancing around warily. The mention of Charles had snapped his focus back to their situation. As if to underscore the message, the thunder boomed again. Oliver managed a smile, and kissed her tenderly, breathing, that sounds nice. Now, let's go find some shelter and wait out this storm. I can't say I mind getting stranded with you. Kara laughed and took his hand. The two set off down the trail, quickly navigating over the roots and rocks, heading deeper into the woods. Charles heard them coming long before they arrived at the cabin. He sighed. Nobody knew how to be stealthy anymore. He settled himself more smoothly into the armchair. This was too easy. Should we knock? It was the girl's voice. Perfect. Probably, Oliver said. I don't want to meet some mountain man with a happy trigger finger. Charles smiled at that one. Slowly, silently, he moved behind the door, the pair making enough noise to cover any movement. He had already turned the knob, so when the knock came, the door creaked open, concealing him in the process. I think it's empty, Oliver said, taking a few tentative steps inside. Another pair of footsteps followed him. This looks cozy enough. Finally, our first stroke of luck. Second, counting the boat. Somebody's watching out for us. True, Charles said, shutting the door, causing the two to whirl to face him. But unfortunately, nobody good. The look on their faces was priceless. Yes, he would definitely enjoy this.